Police have arrested 3 people in connection with the death of a former One Direction star Liam Payne. Payne died October 16th after falling from a 3rd-floor balcony at a hotel in Buenos Aires. They're charging them with abandonment of a person followed by death, and 2 are charged with supplying Payne with narcotics. The first suspect is a person who accompanied Payne daily during his time there in Buenos Aires. The second is a hotel employee who's accused of supplying the singer with cocaine twice during his stay, and the third is the alleged drug dealer, supplying the drugs twice on October 14th, 2 days before his death. People magazine reports that Payne's toxicology results showed cocaine, alcohol, and prescription antidepressants in his system at the time of his fall. And Argentinian authorities are saying they don't believe his death was a suicide because he had no idea what was happening at that time due to the state of his intoxication. So this morning we're asking, how responsible are the suspects in his death? Here to discuss, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor Joe Tamburino, retired NYPD detective Mike Alcazar, and criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor David Bruno. Good morning. This case, Mike, the people around him, what responsibilities do they have? And this is Argentinian law, not U.S. law. But if this took place in a New York hotel, do you think the people around a Liam Payne, who died because of intoxication, basically, would be charged? And should they be charged?
We saw this happen with Mac Miller, Matthew Perry. We held these people responsible. They're supposed to be guardians for the stars and provide them with drugs. So I wasn't surprised that they charged them.
And Michael Jackson, yeah, you had that. David Bruno, your thoughts on the responsibility levels of these 3 people around him in the context that, and we're going to play a 911 call here that was made by the hotel manager. People around him at that point, strangers, the hotel employees, were very concerned. Let's listen to that 911 call and get your reaction. If the manager of the hotel's calling authorities saying this guy's out of his mind and his friends leave, let's listen and then talk about it.
Y necesitamos que nos envíen a alguien urgente porque, bueno, yo no sé si corre riesgo la vida del huésped. Está en una habitación que tiene balcón y, bueno, estamos un poco con temor de que haga algo que le ponga en riesgo su vida. ¿Hace cuánto que está ahí o es un hotel de vivienda? No, es hace 2 o 3 días que está acá.
And this is before he falls off the balcony, and they're concerned. Right. David, his friends apparently not so concerned. Your thoughts on this prosecution?
Well, let's look at count number 1, all right? And this is different law. This is Argentinian law, but it alleges abandonment of a person following a death. So if you look at that statute itself, it is alleging that that person knew of the death. So you could imagine that person is probably up in that room, maybe sees him die or fall because he fell off a balcony. The medical examiner opines that it was because the death was because of the trauma, not because of the drugs. And this one person is charged with the abandonment. The other 2 people are charged with distribution-related offenses. Now, like we are talking about, Matthew Perry is the most recent example of that. There is a national initiative by the feds that are giving federal resources to states to investigate these overdoses, to determine the sources of the distributions. Because there are federal laws, there are state laws in our country that also address this. So number 1, the abandonment. Number 2, the distributions. And the distributions are relevant to the U.S. too, because that is a federal initiative going on.
Yeah, and Joe, to that end, you know, for families that have loved ones that die because of drug overdoses or situations like this, it's heartbreaking because they know that their loved one is vulnerable and these vultures are selling them this poison, and it's infuriating. It takes, sadly, these cases with the stars like Matthew Perry, because there's a Matthew Perry in every city in this country who dies every day, whose family gets 0 attention and or relief from a prosecutorial standpoint. should more be done? Or you're a criminal defense attorney, is it a bit of a stretch? These are adults taking illegal substances, should know the inherent risks.
Why. This gets back to the basic law of what's called culpable negligence. It means that if I put you, Ted, in a situation that is going to, severely harm you or cause you death, I'm liable. It's basic law. Most states have laws that pertain to this. So if I give you drugs and you overdose on those, I am culpably negligent. Why? Because I caused your death. I didn't want to cause your death. It's a negligence crime, but in fact I did by giving you the fentanyl or the cocaine or whatever it is. So I think these charges are appropriate. In terms of the abandonment charge, that I'm not familiar with. We really don't have per se abandonment in the United States, but I'm sure in Argentina, they have their own laws. So I think at least the second two, which is the people that supplied him with the drugs and then he died, yes, I think it's completely appropriate to charge them.